And it's another edition, an amazing edition of the Church Solutions podcast, right?
Hi, my name is Steve Lacy.
And I'm Phil Thompson. We're amazing. We're just amazing, and there's no other way to say it other than we're awesome.
I love your sarcastic humor.
Well, I think we are. I mean, I think we have we run
Yes.
great company. We have great
Uh-huh.
services for churches and ministries. We do our best to help people, and that's what really matters. We're not perfect, but I had somebody today say, you guys are just, and it's actually somebody told me this. They said, you guys are amazing. He goes, your customer service is awesome. I said, well, thank you very much. But we are. I mean, we do our best. We're not perfect. I mean, just ask anybody that, we've.
That's for others to say, though.
Yeah. Well,
we are.
I think it's okay to brag about ourselves if it's true.
All right.
I think so. Anyhow, somebody did say it. So, all right. So we're doing a podcast here, and we do this every week. And if you haven't figured it out by now, we're a tech company that helps churches and ministries use technology like streaming videos, like mobile apps, church management stuff, website templates, and all that. And speaking of those wonderful products we have, one of those is what we're going to talk about today, right, Steve?
Yes, we are. So we're going to talk about why you should consider a mobile app for your church.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit about mobile apps because, hey, look, it's summertime, at least when we're recording this, and lots of people go off and have vacations. If you happen to live like where we live in Arizona, especially the Tucson area, my church has a lot of snowbirds, and those people go away. They go back to Michigan and Ohio, and the nice thing about them having a mobile app, which my church offers through our company, is that it's very easy for them to stay connected. And according to some recent stats, Americans spend over 71% of their digital time on mobile devices, and almost 3 hours a day. Count it, 3 hours a day on them.
Yes, we should have thrown in the stats for multiple choice question here. How many times on average, do people look at their phone every day?
Yeah, I forgot about that. We gave that out a few months ago, didn't we? I don't remember which one it is
I think
now.
so.
49 times or something? I don't remember.
Oh, it's crazy numbers. 49 would be way too low.
Yeah,
Because you look at the numbers and you're like, no, that's no way it's that. But on average, it was up there.
My son and my wife, and I guess me too, we look at our devices a lot. I mean, it's just, but my son especially, I noticed even when he's watching a movie or something, he comes home on weekends now from his welding school, and he just kind of parks it on the couch, and he's got his mobile device with him, and he's texting his girlfriend or looking at funny videos on Instagram or something. I mean, you and we're usually doing business or work on them. At least that's what we tell people. But anyhow, so look, we're talking about this, and the reason we're talking about it is that, if you're involved in your church, and I think you would be if you're listening to this podcast in some capacity, you probably already see that there's technology all over the place. There's Bible apps. There's people in your congregation that are, they have obviously devices, mobile phones. And, the question is, look, let's get in on this. Let's give our own people an opportunity to see some of the stuff we offer with a mobile app. Do you follow me so far?
I do. So in kind of the, use a term that we use here, that I use, is in the funnel of visitors, that come to your church. For the outside people, for attracting new people, your website is a primary tool. Right. But then once you've got people that are regularly committed and coming, then the mobile device becomes a more appropriate tool to connect with your people. So this is kind of geared for reasons why you should have an app on your mobile device. It's really geared for the people that consider your church home, because no one else is going to, never been to this church, but there's an app here and maybe that looks interesting. They're probably not going to install an app for some place that they're not a part of. But if they are regular members and they contribute to the church and the church has an app, then very likely your people will be open to installing the app.
Yeah. So let's get into some practical reasons why your church should have a mobile app, shall we?
Let's do.
All right.
So go for it. What's our first point here?
Okay. So if you have, there's people, Facebook, we just mentioned it, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, people using email stuff. And then also, if you're really trying to reach people, we've always said this, that you should be on social media and you should be, trying to reach where people are at, if you want to connect with your members as well as non-members. And so we talk about those social media platforms and even mailing and handouts, at your church or whatever. And they're all good forms and you should probably be involved in those things. But there's a lot of them out there. And if you had one platform, one place for your members, as you mentioned earlier, your people that follow your church, if they had one place to go to be able to get information, a mobile app is that app. It's that place they can go. They can open it up on their phone and they don't have to be looking for information either from your church or whatever, looking through Facebook and then look on Instagram and check emails. Did I get this? Did I get that? It's all there in the mobile app.
Right. And so, and they're carrying their phone with them everywhere they go.
Yep.
So if they have your app, they have ready access to, they could say, friend says, when are your Sunday evening services, or, when is this and that sort of thing. So
special events going on.
Let me pull that up.
Yeah. Special events. They can easily pull it up, open the app, and it's there. And I know I've had people argue with me, well, if you just have a good mobile responsive website, you don't need an app. Well, okay, that's a point, but still you got to open your browser up, get to the church website on your phone and then find whatever you're looking for somewhere on the website. So I'm not saying that that's not an option. I'm just saying that in my opinion and from my experience, much easier to open up the app. And if I want to find about current events, click on that button. If I want to listen to the live stream, which is kind of what we're getting ahead of here. But, there's things you can just easily open up in your app and it's there. It's a power. And somebody said this, the smartphone is the most powerful tool for communication today because it's everybody's got one. And as you just said, it's there and people are using it and you can easily send push notifications to people and voila, you've connected with them.
Mm-hmm. All right. So our second point here is more giving opportunities.
So we found this to be the case in my church. And that is when we introduced our mobile app to people and said, hey guys, here's the mobile app, download it. And oh, by the way, if you want to give, you can just click the give button on the mobile app and you can give online. And when we did that, our giving went up something like 20% or more. No lie. And we have lots of people today that give online. And it's not all through the mobile app. I get that. We have a link on our website and that kind of a thing. But the mobile app just makes it so much easier. You love stats, right, Steve?
I guess so,
you're
yes.
A stat guy. You like stats.
I run my business with stats, yes.
You do. And 39% of younger Christians claim to give at least once a month online. And so this idea, and you and I both, we're not exactly the younger generation, although we look really young for our age. But when's the last time you paid with something for a check? You used a check. When was it? When's the last time you paid for something?
It was actually not too long ago because it was such an uncommon thing. I had to go find where is this checkbook, and
Yeah, it was somebody that only took checks.
Yeah, someone that only took checks.
Which is online, by the way. I know who you're talking about, which is kind of ironic because they're an online ministry.
Yes, and it was really strange.
Yeah.
It was like, I was expecting to go to a website and put in a credit card or something. I
checks, give online. I buy
checks are very, I don't know, not many people are carrying checks around anymore.
No. And we still have people in our church that give with checks, but there's a lot of people that are now giving online. And the bottom line is this, it's checks are on the way out. And most, especially millennials, some people get tired of hearing about millennials, but most of them don't carry a lot of cash and they don't carry checks. And they enjoy the simple digital experience. And part of that is if you give that people that opportunity in the mobile app, it's just real easy. They can just open it up and then when they give, they give.
Right, exactly.
Everybody has their own preferences. So I'm not saying you never take an offering anymore, you never accept checks. We're not saying that. All we're saying is why not increase the opportunities for people to support what you're doing?
Yeah, and there's been a whole growth of mobile-based giving companies out there, text to give and so all kinds of ways to do it.
Yeah, and you know, you and I probably both feel this way. PayPal, we've used PayPal all the time for business stuff as well as personal stuff. I do. But yeah, I mean, and they're all, I know somebody's going to argue with us here and say, well, yeah, but they're going to take 2.5%. Yeah, some of them will take 2 or 3%. If you're paying more than that, then you probably ought to switch. But I find that it's worth the 2 or 3% for people to give. It's worth it. And so gives them an opportunity to give, and so we're far ahead than if we didn't do it. So
yeah, exactly.
That's my argument.
All right, yeah, people will spend more money. That's why merchants take credit cards.
Yeah.
As you know, that's a widely quoted stat. You're going to spend 18% more money if you have a credit card than you will if you don't. So the merchants recognize that and go, "Oh, I better take a credit card." So,
that's true. And then there's also, this isn't in the notes, but and I think you've used this. Have you used? Well, you don't have an Apple, but you've used like Apple Pay. It's not Apple Pay. What's the alternative? What's Google? Is it Google Pay? What is
Android Pay. I have a Samsung phone. There's Samsung Pay. Everybody wants into the
So there's
space.
I was at kind of a small little grocery store down the street from me, and he wanted I paid for my groceries with my card, and I started to use my phone for some reason. And I go, "Oh, you don't want that." I go, "You probably don't do the phone thing." He goes, "Yeah, we can use the phone to, I was like, "Oh, I should set it up." And I don't have it set up to use my phone. You know what I mean? To scan the phone.
Yeah.
I don't have that, but I mean, I guess I have it. I just haven't set it up. But that's another thing to think about if you're a church. But we'll move on from there.
We'll just swipe everyone's phone as they come through the front door there.
That's right. There you go.
Thank you for coming. You've just donated.
That's right. We'll just do it without you knowing. We wouldn't do that. But yeah, anyhow. All right. So let's move on here. Now we beat that.
All right. So an easy place to keep message resources.
That's the second or third point we're making here. A mobile app. It's an easy place to keep your message resources. So when I talk about messages here, we're talking about a lot of things, not just online messages, although we can talk about that. I mean, we're talking about notes. Maybe you got sermon notes. Maybe you've got videos that we've talked about, your podcast, which you should have, at least in some capacity for people to listen. It all can be in one very simple, accessible location that's available at your fingertips, 24/7, right? Can't sleep at night, pull up a Phil Thompson sermon at 2 a.m. Guaranteed you will fall asleep in 20 minutes or more or less. Yeah, but no, it's an easy place, right?
Yeah, it's probably one of the more popular features in the apps is having your messages online or on the app.
My messages online?
Yes, yours. That's the most popular thing. Is everybody wants Phil's messages.
Exactly. They demand to hear them. No, but it is, and obviously video archives, live streaming, audio stuff. It's all there. And again, you have people that don't come to church every week. Sometimes they're on vacation, they're doing other things, or they've come, I had people when I was pastoring in Kansas, and after I moved away, I still had people asking for my messages. Not that I'm real popular, but what I'm getting at is people, even if they leave your church, sometimes they move away. They like in my church in Kansas, it was military, a lot of military families, and so they would be transferred out, but they would still listen to stuff online that we did until they found a home church somewhere. So again, opportunities abound when you have those things accessible to people on your wonderful mobile device.
Yes. All right. So next point is saving money.
So you can save money, and this kind of gets into an area that I haven't moved into yet, but many churches are, and that is they're offering their weekly bulletin, weekly program as a feature in their app.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of them are giving you both the the paper version as well as the mobile version. But eventually, someday, maybe not within our lifetime, because we're pretty old, but sometime within this next generation, I would say that most programs are going to probably disappear as far as a regular handout. There's always going to be handouts, but not a regular handout. And people with mobile devices, they'll just pull up the program or the bulletin on their mobile app.
Right. I know in my church there's a big push to move everything to the app. So it's you would have thought it would have been really simple, but there are people that I don't like that. I want to so.
And I get that. I mean, what's your thoughts on it? I mean, you're probably all for it, right? Or do you think you think a paper program holds its value somewhere?
I mean, there's just some people prefer certain things over another, and you're changing their ways. And so change is hard. So I think it's kind of a lot of things is once you get used to it, you go, oh, how did I ever live without this? Right. But when they said, no, we're not, you can't have a bulletin. You must, open everything up on your phone. Then, they go, oh, well, my bulletin, I used to fold it up and make an airplane out of it after church or.
Yeah, we recycle ours. If people want to, they can turn it in. But the program, in my opinion, is just a pain. I'm an administrator. I do a little part-time gig for my church, and it's just to me it's just a pain. I mean, the whole thing we won't go too far into this, but the whole announcement thing is annoying to me.
Yeah, well, it does take some. I mean, you got to print these things, and then you got to fold them. Typically, you have volunteers just sitting there folding them up, and then you got to stack them, and then you got to clean them up. After the service. So
stuff them before, you got to stuff them with stuff sometimes and you clean them. So I think, you can save money. I mean, you really can save money, save time, some energy, and put that money into something else. But, I realize that people listening to this podcast, some of you are going like, we're never going to do that. Well, okay. But maybe 50 years from now, your church will be doing it. And, we'll be saying, we told you so. Although we probably won't be here in 50 years. But anyhow, I think you can save money. You can do it. And I think it's just an important thing to be keeping in mind, and maybe offer both. That's a good transition, right? Just offer both. And that way, hey, you don't have to have a program, but if you want one, here it is. Otherwise, just download the app and listen to it. So I think, that's all I pretty much got in these notes here. But I really think that, again, it's just so convenient for people. It's not a big deal to download an app. Now full disclosure, we do provide mobile apps. Our company, we have a little, what do we call it? A second product called Church App Live, churchapplive.com. You can take a look at it and you can do a free trial. If you like it, great. If you don't, well, there must be something wrong with you. But, I mean, no, well, I'm kidding. You may not like it. It may not be for everybody. But there's other mobile apps out there as well.
Yeah, and they're just, they're really inexpensive today. I mean, when being the software developer background many years ago, and actually if you had a custom app you wanted to have built, one-off, it's, could be up tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. So, but today the apps are just super affordable.
Yeah, and obviously we provide that, and it actually comes with if you do streaming video with us with streamingchurch.tv, you get an app for no extra charge. It comes with your deal, and we can even customize and brand it for you for just a very minimal one-time fee. So I know we're pushing our own stuff here, but it's okay to do that once in a while. We said at the very beginning of the podcast how great we were, so we need to talk about why we're so great, and we provide all this. So anyhow, all right, so that's all I got, unless you want something you want to add.
No, that's it. I got it. That's it for me too.
I think it's a good, valuable thing. So keep that in mind. And if you need help on that, if you have questions, you can just ask us questions. We won't try to sell you. We'll just tell you what we know. And you can do that by sending us an email at support at streamingchurch.tv. Or since we're talking about mobile apps, you just go to churchapplive.com and you can check that out. You want to chat with us online, we can talk to you if we're here chatting. If not, just send us an email or call us and we'll be happy to serve you. So I am done. Hey, are you a grandfather yet?
No, next week.
Oh, it's next week. I was thinking it might be today. So
No,
it's next
week.
Wednesday.
It's a week from today, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, good. So I'm sure everybody's excited about that possibility. Well, it's not a possibility. It's going to happen. So
today's an age why I scheduled it. So
yeah, good to have it scheduled. Put it on your calendar. All right.
No, it is kind of weird, but there's a very high probability it will happen next Wednesday.
Right. Well, that's fine. Put it on the Google Calendar. So, all right, good. So we're done. So he is Steve Lacy. I am Phil Thompson. And again, thank you for your time today. Thanks for listening to the Church Solutions Podcast. Take care of yourself. We will catch you again next time on another edition of the Church Solutions Podcast. Take care.